What's up, YouTube? Casual Yu-Gi-Oh here with my Sylvan deck profile for April 2020. Sylvan's is a deck I've been playing, I think, since 2017, and I really enjoy the deck because most people, they like the plant stuff that's in Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think with Sylvan's, it gives you the ability to play all the plant staples while still playing an archetype, and that's what I really like about it. So this is a deck that's gone through some changes. Obviously, in the recent ban list, Glow Bulb got banned, and that affects the deck in a big way. But I've kind of, I don't want to say revamped, but I've just found other things that I like to kind of take its place. So let's get into it. So I play Triple Evil Thorn. This is a card that I don't really understand why Sylvan players wouldn't play this. It's a level 1 plant, which you have cards in the deck that can special summon this from the deck, which is good. And then it's also a 1 card rank 1 into your princess, your Sylvan Princess Sprite or whatever. And that's a really good card, and I don't know why you wouldn't play it. I think it's good. But yeah, 3 Evil Thorn. Uh, 3 Sylvan Peacekeeper. This is the card that, like, once again, I don't understand. You'll see deck profiles where people are only playing like 1 or 2 of this card. If you're having a blind excavate, which happens a lot, this is the best one you can do usually because you've already gone into a Lone Fire Blossom. So helps you get Lone Fire back into your graveyard, from your graveyard onto the field. And also, it does have a normal summon effect, which is another reason why we like it, because if you had to normal summon it, which happens, you still have the chance to excavate a card, which is nice. Uh, Triple Rose Lover. This is a card I bumped to 3 recently. I think the right ratio might be 2 under normal circumstances, but without Glow Bulb, the deck kind of needs a little more oomph. So this is another card that we can technically special summon in the deck if we had to, and there's things that you can do with it, like I said. But Rose Lover has the effect of, if it's in your graveyard, banish it, special summon a plant from your hand. We have good choices for that. Like I said, I would not fault anyone if they wanted to play 2. If you only want to play 1, I think it's a little low. But this is another card that if you were blind excavating, you'd be happy that you're like, oh, okay, Rose Lover. Thank God that's in my graveyard. The obvious 3 of 3 Lone Fire Blossom. I don't think I need to talk about why Lone Fire Blossom needs to be a 3. Oh, by the way, I've heard some people complain that Lone Fire needs to get hit eventually. I don't think it does. I think it's for a plant deck. Plants don't have the firepower. Look at the plant monsters that are in the database, like as far as like what their stat line is. There's no plant monster that you're like, that negates everything, that card's busted, that card's attack points are crazy. Like, there's no plant that does that. It's really important for a plant deck, because if you didn't have Lone Fire, these plant decks really wouldn't work at all. Okay, so we're getting into the big trees. Triple Sylvan Sage Koya. Sage Koya, I've never seen a deck profile. I don't think they didn't run 3 of it, and I don't know why. I don't know why you would like bump it down. Sage Koya has the effect of, if a Sylvan is sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon from your hand. So he's a card you would want in your hand. Because he's a level 7, that's great. It actually helps us go into a lot of great plays. I will say, since Glow Bulb got banned, he's not as good as he used to be, because there was a play with Glow Bulb where you could go into some really broken cards. But he's still a great card, because I would say still the best card in your extra deck is a rank 7. Oh, and if he's excavated, you grab a Sylvan Spell or Trap back, which is helpful. That's a really good effect. Sylvan Hermitry. So I love Hermitry. I only have 1 Legacy of the Valiant. I wish these are mega packs, but I wish I had more Legacy of the Valiants. But not a cheap card. Hermitry is your go-to when you Lone Fire Blossom. That's ideally what you would want to go into. And Hermitry has the effect, and he's the, what people have called like the boss of the deck, or the main deck at least. You excavate a card. If it's a plant, it goes to the graveyard, and you get to draw 1 additional card. Really great with the field spell. Like I said, he's how you gain advantage, and he's a key part of like your main combo plays and stuff like that. 3 of him. So 2 Sylvan Cherub Sprout. I think the last time I did a deck profile, because the first video on this channel is a Sylvan deck profile by me. I think I bumped it up to 2 at that deck profile. I've never regretted it. I love this card. In fact, I was trying to get a 3rd copy, but TCG Player kind of jacked up, and I never got the card. But you could pump this to 3, because in my opinion, this card is so good. Granted, like I said, because Glow Bulb got hit, you're not able to get Glow Bulb off that effect, but you could still get the cards I'm about to show. Great level 1s, like I said. The ones I've already shown you, Evil Thorn, Rose Lover, we're playing at 3. For anyone who doesn't know, if he's excavated, you can special summon a level 1 plant from your deck, which I think is a great effect. And I'll just tell you right now, I don't play the Princess Sprout. I used to run her. She's the one that if she's excavated, you special summon her from the graveyard, and she'll you pick a level from 1 to 8, and she can become that level. I'm not saying that's a bad effect, and maybe in the future, if plants ever got hit, like if Lone Fire got hit, then maybe I would consider playing that card again. But I noticed I would never, because with the field spell, you can choose what Sylvan you want to put at the top of your deck. I never chose her ever because with the cards I'm about to show you, you always had a better play to go into, and I never thought that she was that good. That's just my personal opinion. But because she doesn't do anything for you, if she's normal summon, you can trib her and excavate the top card or something like that. I don't know. Like, I don't think she's that good. Granted, this guy, when he's normal summon, doesn't do anything, but if he's special summoned, you can excavate some cards. I think you can excavate up to 2. But yeah, I like him at 2, and like I said, I would not call you crazy if you played it at 3. So the 1-ofs, I play 1 copy plant. This is the card that I was saying, if I just excavate this, like if I have my choice, like as opposed to that Princess Sprout or this card, I can just choose this, and like I can just special summon this card from my deck once that's excavated, and this can become my rank 7 play, or this become an 8-star Synchro, or I had Hermitry on the field, whatever. Like, I have so many, I feel like I have more plays because this is a tuner, and this card can just copy whatever monster's level that I'm gonna do. I just think this is it's a better play, and more than likely I was going into that over the Princess because this is a tuner, it gives you more options with Synchro plays. Yeah, Copy Plant's a great card. I am surprised that more Sylvan players don't run it. You'll see them just leave this card out, and I don't get it. 1 Spore. Spore's a great card. You never need to see more than 1 of it. Like I said, it is a once per duel effect. That's why everyone always runs it at 1. But I've said for a while, I think Spore is the best tuner in the deck because of the combos that you can do. I do think it is the best. Global Bulb, I mean, I don't know. It sucks because like Global Bulb was a big deal. And like now that you don't have Global Bulb, you can't do your Nat Beast plays and a few other things. The play that I was going into, which I'll get into with the extra deck, the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss play was the global play that I missed, but you can't do that anymore. But Spore is still really good, and there's some new stuff that I found out that you can do with him, whatever. 1 Sylvan Martial Leaf. So Martial Leaf is just to pop monsters when it's excavated. He does have a normal sound effect where you can excavate up to 2 cards, which is good. His stat line's decent for a 3-star. But the main thing is, if you ever need to pop a monster, which I used to not run him, but I got into that situation a few times where I'm like, man, I really should have been running Martial Leaf because my opponent would have something problematic. And yeah, sometimes like they're unaware that this card exists, so like they'll let you get your effect off if they had a chance to negate it, and then like boom, there you go, Martial Leaf kills their monster. Okay, so new edition, 1 Mardell Generator Boss of Light. So this is a new card that just came out, I would say, in the last couple months, but Generators. So it's a level 9. That's important. And the fact that it's a plant, this is great, but the main thing, so you can only control 1 of it, and then if it's normal special summon, you add 1 Generator card or a plant from deck to hand. So this lets you just search any plant you want from deck to hand. And the main thing we're doing with this, you could Lone Fire this if you want to, but this is a card that we're like, if we see this in our graveyard, we're happy because of something that I'll show. Let's see. So spell cards, triple Sylvan Charity. It wouldn't be a Sylvan deck without Sylvan Charity. Sylvan Charity is essential. It lets you draw 3 cards, then if you have a Sylvan in your hand, you can put that back and another card onto your deck and place them on top of your deck in any order. So it's a really great card for stacking what you're about to excavate. I wish I saw this card more, to be honest with you. Sometimes I feel like I go a while without seeing it, but it really does help when you do see it. If you don't have any Sylvan cards in your hand, which I don't think has ever happened to me, maybe once have I never had a Sylvan card in my hand. That's usually like when you're like, when you're having to like blindly do this, or you only have like 1 card in your hand that's not a Sylvan, that's when it can get dangerous. But if you see this your opening hand, you'll be fine because you'll always see a Sylvan. But if you don't, you have to put all your cards in your hand back at the top of your deck if you didn't have a Sylvan, which, like I said, never happens. Okay, new thing I'm trying. Don't hate me for it. Triple Seed Cannon. So Seed Cannon, the way it works, every time a plant is summoned, period, you can place a counter on this card, max 5, and then you can send it to the graveyard to inflict 500 points of damage for each counter on it. So, the max damage that you're doing per card is 2,500. And what I notice in Sylvans, like any other plant deck normally, you summon so, I mean, especially with this deck, you combo so much, you easily summon 5 plants a turn. Think about it. Lone Fire, like if you had like Lone Fire into Hermitry, that's 2 Hermitry's effect. Let's say you excavate a Cherub Sprout, especially summon a level 1 from your deck, or let's say you excavated Peacekeeper. You bring back Lone Fire, that's 3. Lone Fire effect into another Hermitry, that's 4. and then like you could go into whatever. Like I'll show you in the extra deck, but you can easily make 5 with this. If you drew 2 of this, I don't think that's a bad deal either, because wouldn't you take that to be like, okay, I can do 5,000 burn damage to my opponent? I think that's pretty good, because normally Sylvans, I'm not going to say they can OTK, but they normally can get really, really close, and they have good control and good versatility, and that's why I think that the deck can sustain running this. Now, like I said, if you wanted to play something different, I totally get it. You could play a hand trap if that's what you really want to do. I like this card better because if you excavate it, it goes back to the bottom of your deck. It's not just getting wasted in your graveyard. So triple super solar nutrients. I still never understood why people play Miracle Fertilizer, because on the surface that card looks great, but the problem is you generally need your normal summon. You're going to have to normal summon Lone Fire. You're going to have to normal summon one of your low level stuff to trib to get into Lone Fire, because Lone Fire is how you're getting your plays going. If you don't have Lone Fire in your graveyard, your Peacekeeper is basically dead. Like if you excavate that, you don't get anything out of it. That's why you need to run the Lone Fire build, and because of that, you need to run Super Solar Nutrients. So anyone who doesn't know, you activate this card and trib a level 2 or lower plant. You special summon a monster that has like up to 3 levels higher than that card. You just summon Lone Fire, and yeah, and then you go to town. And then once Lone Fire is gone, this card goes away. But what I will say, the reason I bumped like a few cards up in this deck, Rose Lover, 3 of. If I see Rose Lover and I see this card, boom. Not only does that give me a Lone Fire, but that means if I have another big plant in my hand, I can just special summon that. Or if I have another Lone Fire in my hand, I can special summon that. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. I think this card is, I think you should run 3 of it. I've tried to like see if 2 works, and I just think 2, you don't see it enough. Triple Mount Sylvania, the field spell. Back in the day, I tried running this deck without the field spell. My first profile, I had it right. I had it at 3. So nothing's really changed in that regard in the last 2 years. But yeah, I think it's Mount Sylvania is a weird field spell in the sense of like you would never go like, man, like this card is so essential to the deck. You never think about it that way, because all it does is let you stack like the top card of your deck, and you have to send a plant from hand or field to the graveyard to do that. Sometimes that can be costly, but other times that helps you set up more combo plays if you had like Rose Lover or whatever. So, and that's another reason why I think Rose Lover 3 will be fine, because if you just see the 1, you're happy and you're like, cool, we have a way to pitch that. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I said, trying to run the deck without it, it just doesn't really work, because you need to be able to stack. You can't always rely on Sylvan Charity to always stack what's going to be on the top of your deck. You need more cards to do that. And I think this is a perfect field spell. I think it's balanced. I mean, they could have gave like, you know, like Sylvan monsters like a little bit of an attack boost, but like, that might be asking too much. Oh, and the end phase, if it's still on the field, you can excavate the top card of your deck, which your opponent kind of like never really realizes that play is going to happen. Sometimes you can catch them with something. But the 1-ofs, I play 1 Foolish Burial. I had some dude in the comments last time I uploaded this that was like, I never thought to think of, he's like, I never thought to play Foolish Burial in a Sylvan deck. And I'm like, really? Because I'm like, Rose Lover, you would want that card in your graveyard like all the time. Plus, I mean, you know, if you had to, back then, I was like, well, you could just pitch Glow Bulb if you had to, or like now, like you can just pitch Spore if you wanted to, I guess, to do that effect. You generally don't need to. It's mainly just Rose Lover, but this is a good card. This is a good way to just get it out, get it in your graveyard. 1 Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion, I used to run at 3 in my build last time, because Instant Fusion in this deck I think is incredibly retarded. But just a 1-of's fine. We have 2 options that we can go in Instant Fusion, and by all means, people, play whatever you want. If you wanted to play like a Sea Monster of Theseus or whatever as an Instant Fusion target, go for it. I just don't. 1 for 1. 1 for 1 I don't think ain't as good as it used to be, in my opinion. But in this deck, it's still really, really, really good, because of you normally have things that you would want in your graveyard, like I said, like a Rose Lover that you can pitch with this. And then, you know, special summon, a lot of your greatest monsters are level 1 monsters in this deck, as far as like tuners and stuff like that. Yeah, not all decks can say that. Like I said, I don't think the card is as good as it used to be, because the game has become so much about card advantage. But if your deck has like a really important level 1 monster, I think 1 for 1 is still a good option. And then the last card in the main deck, 1 Seed of Deception. You can special summon a level 2 or lower plant from your hand. Good. I mean, like I said, we play enough. We play triple Rose Lover, triple Evil Thorn. You play the little Sylvan monsters that if you had to do Super Soul Nutrient, didn't want to use up your normal summon, you could do that. So I tried it as a 1-of. You don't have to play this card. You could pick something else. It's just what I chose. Okay, for the extra deck. Fusions first. 1,000 is strict. Because it's a Sylvan deck and because you can do level 1s, this just helps you go into a rank 1 play. That's the main thing. Suck up your opponent's monster, go into a rank 1 play. 1 Fusionist. This is part of the combo that if you didn't see my video from 2 years ago, I'll go into this, so I'll set this one to the side. It's not for Melee of the Trees because, in my opinion, until Dandelion comes back off the ban list, which Konami, you can just errata that card, and because you made a stupid mechanic called Link Summoning, you can just errata Dandelion and say these tokens can't be used for a Link Summon, and then like plant people can go back to having fun again. Because if Dandelion came back, obviously I would play that card immediately, and it would open up other plays. But now, since Danny's not there, this card is still important for a combo that I made up. Old Entity Hastor for the Synchros. This is part of the combo. I'll get into that, and I'll set this to the side in case anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about. Your only level 8 Synchro. It's Crimson Blader now just because he can kind of like stun some stuff. I guess it's not your only level 8 Synchro. It's the only one that you would get out under normal circumstances, a generic level 8. So the one I used to run in here was Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend because you could sync, blow up your opponent's stuff, and then because of Glow Bulb, you would Glow Bulb and then just go back into it and do Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Because Glow Bulb's not a thing, we have to resort to Crimson Blader, but as soon as Glow Bulb ever comes back off the list, once Needle Fiber gets banned because that card's degenerate, Glow Bulb will be back, people. It'll be back. It's just Needle Fiber has to be banned because that was a stupid idea for a card anyway. But yeah, then you would play Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss again in Starlight, so keep that in mind. But Crimson Blader, I don't know. You could pick any level 8 Synchro that you want because you do. I think you need one in case you get stuck with a, Sage Koya and a level 1 tuner. Let me put that over here. 1 Crystal Wing. How do you get this out, you ask? Okay, I'll show you in the combo here in a second. Well, actually, yeah, I'll show you in a second. 1 Cloud Castle. So this is what I was talking about with the generator chick. If I can find her. Shit, right here. Okay, so let's say you excavate this card because, like I said, I mean, if you had the money to like get 2 more of these, you could try it at 3. I don't know how well it would work, but since we're playing Rose Lover at 3, if you saw this in your hand, it still wouldn't be bad. But the idea that I had was, yeah, if you had Rose Lover, special summon this, and because we can go into level 9 plays anyway, you could go into rank 9 if you wanted. But the main way you go into rank 9 is this card gets excavated. You can easily sink into a level 9. For anyone that doesn't know, you do Spore with your Hermitry, sink into a 9 right there, and then Cloud Castle. You can go into this if that was in your graveyard. But the other play that you do, and like I said, that goes into a rank 9. That's why I play the Cloud Castle. Vermilion Dragon Mech is normally what you go into with the Spore play. You pop something if you had another tune in your graveyard, and then you use Spore's effect, banish the Hermitry. Now Spore's a level 9, and then you have a rank 9 play right there. Last Synchro. This is a guy that you could always play that a lot of people don't. Phantasmal Lord Ultimil Bismalkin. Or Bisbalkin, I think is how you say it. Yeah. So he's really easy in this deck, actually. And for a long time, I don't know why people didn't play him. Last time I did my deck profile, I just don't think I had the room. But he takes a level 8 or higher tuner and a level 8 or higher non-tuner that are the exact same level. So in this deck, that's really easy because you can just use Copy Plant and copy a Hermitry, and then boom, there you go. And then you can get this thing out. During the main phase, he can summon as many tokens as like there are like slots on the field. And then he gains 1,000 for every monster on the field. And let me read. He can't be destroyed by card effects. That's good. And then once per turn during outplay main phase, yeah, you can special summon the tokens. They go to defense. And then this card cannot attack for the rest of the turn. So basically, if you summon tokens, you can't attack for the rest of the turn after you do that. So yeah, that's it. But he's a good way to like kind of like, I'm not going to say like fill up your opponent's monsters with tokens, but you could do that. I think he's just a strong card. If you had to get over something is basically the reason why I would have him in here. Okay, so your XYZ plays. I play 1 Princess Sprite. In this deck, which is what it was made for, you can excavate. And if you you get a spell card, you get it to your hand. And then if it's a monster, it goes to the graveyard. That's why this card's really good because, you're wanting your monster to go to the graveyard, but if you excavate a spell, normally it would just go to the bottom of the deck. Now you can just add it to your hand. That's why it's really good card. Lightning Chidori, how you get this out for the combo. I'll show you. The rank 7s, I play 1 Red Ice Flare Metal, and I play 1 Araya, the Sylvan High Arbiter. I really don't think you need any other 7s besides these. Reason being, let's say you're going second, and you want to just literally obliterate your opponent. Araya is probably the best card in this extra deck. Anyone who plays Sylvans knows that. It can literally just, you can stack the top of your deck to whatever order you need, and then however many plants gets excavated up from her effect, you can do up to 3. If you get 3, which, like I said, you can stack your deck, you can just bounce their stuff back. Red Ice Flare Metal, the reason I like him as our rank 7 is because if we had to go first and do a defensive play, you do Flare Metal, and now that I play those Seed Cannons, let's say like I got 1 Seed Cannon off and puts him at 5,500. If I'm going against a combo deck, You don't think that's going to hurt that every time they play something that's going to take 500, that means they have 11 effects to activate, which I know people are like, that's a lot. It is, but a normal deck, like, you're thinking like 5 or 6 is like, and that's not even counting if they have a card that like makes them pay life points. So that's it for that. For the rank 8s, I only play one because I think it's perfect for this deck. The new chick, Teardrop, the Rika Queen. So what she does is you can detach a material from her to target a monster in the field and tribute it. That means you can tribute your opponent's monsters. And if you have a plant as material, this can be used as a quick effect. And then every time a monster is tributed, this card gets 200 attack. The attack bonus is like kind of neat or whatever, but the main thing is the fact that because we're only ever going to be using plants, you're going to be able to do quick effects for 2 of those and tribute your opponent's monsters, which is really nice. For the longest time, I think that's the biggest problem with Sylvans is they didn't have a solid rank 8 play. Like Alsay, the Sylvan High Arbiter or whatever, I don't think that card's that good. Or I don't remember if that's I know his name's Alsay, I just don't remember if that's the rest of the name, but Alsay is kind of meh. Like, no, I don't really care for that card. And then before, the only other thing that people would play is what's the other rank 8? The old Felgran, Divine Dragon Felgran, whatever. Never cared for that card either. The Knight, I never cared for him. I like this card more. It really helps with the deck. It gives it some much needed defense in a play that you do all the time. And lastly, the rank 9s. I play one Phantom Fortress. I'm not even going to enter Blathnir or whatever. And then this new guy, the Generator Boss, the rank 9, the Serpent. So the Phantom Fortress is if you go first, you want to rip a card out of your opponent's hand, or if you want to, whatever. Like, rank 9s, like I said, are really easy, so that's a play that you can do. And the good thing about Sylvans is, like, it's not like you really screwed up any other plays. You're just having to use a Hermitry and a Spore to make this, so, it's really easy. And then this Serpent thing, you could play True King of All Calamities. It's just I've gotten so tired of that card that I just wanted to try new things. So this guy's really cool. Quick effect, he can detach to... He gets 1,000 for every material that's on him, but every turn, basically during either player's turn, you can detach, and each player draws a card, and then each player puts a card from their hand onto this card as material. So every turn, he's gaining 1,000 attack points, and on top of that, he's letting you draw, and yeah, he's letting your opponent draw too, but like... I don't know, in my opinion, I'd rather take that because this thing's getting stronger and they have to keep worrying about that. And I like the card. So that's it for the deck profile. Sorry it was so long, but I like explaining myself. Oh, my combo. Sorry, I forgot to say that. So you instant fusion a Fusionist. It requires a Lone Fire as well. So if you Lone Fire into Spore or Hermitry if you have the setup where you know that like that's going to be there. But where's it at? Oh, well, there it is. Okay, so Spore. So if you Lone Fire and Spore, if Lone Fire's in your graveyard, you get Spore out. So like I said, you can do it with Hermitry. Well, no, actually you can't. You have to have Spore out the first way because you need to sync and then use Spore's effect in the graveyard. So you sync, 3 and a 1, you get Old Entity Hastor out, and now because Lone Fire was in your graveyard, because you Lone Fired out, you can get Spore out, and now he's a level 4, which means because of this play, you can either sync into Crystal Wing, because you have a level 4 tuner, level 4 non-tuner Synchro monster, or you can go into Lightning Chidori because they're both level 4 wind monsters. The Crystal Wing play, if you do that, you not only get out a Crystal Wing, but you also... Old Entity Hastor says if it's sent from the monster's under the graveyard, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, equip this card to that target, and then that monster cannot attack, its effects negated, and if this card leaves the field, take control of that monster. Does a lot for basically like no setup whatsoever. So that was 2 cards out of the deck. Like I said, a Lone Fire and Instant Fusion. You can do that play where if like your opponent had 2 problematic monsters, you can equip this to 1, and then you can just Crystal Wing and kill them with the other. So, yeah, I don't know. That's really good. I think I'm the only Sylvan player that actually runs that kind of combo because I invented it, to my knowledge. But that's it for the deck profile. Sorry it was so long, but I love talking about this stuff. And yeah, this is it for Casual Yu-Gi-Oh! Have a good one.